Welcome to the Firehouse. I'm your host, Captain Kyle Smith. You're responding down the road less traveled en route to financial freedom. If you're a first responder, then planning your future through financial literacy is a minimum requirement. This isn't financial advice, just a conversation to get your wheels turning. Ready? Good, because you're at sea. What's up, everyone? It's Captain Kyle Smith. This week I sat down for a morning meeting with Joe and Bree Kennedy. They've been grinding away at their real estate investing business for the last decade and have built up the momentum needed to now find success they had in the short-term rental market. Hope you guys enjoy it. All right, hey, Bree and Joe, welcome to the bullpen. Thanks for meeting me.
Thanks for having us.
I just wanted to welcome you. I'm excited to hear about your guys' story. You have some really cool things going on in your investing lives that we'll dig into here in your first alarm. But before we get into that, how have you guys been adapting to the pandemic? And then Joe, have you gotten vaccinated, or where are you guys standing on all that?
We're working on the vaccinations with our family right now. My dad's getting vaccinated today, and so it's kind of helping everyone be able to mingle a little bit more. We're pretty fortunate we have help at home with our kids, so that hasn't been super impactful. And Bree's been working from our office right here. So
yeah, definitely has been an adjustment for me, being used to working outside the home to now working inside the home, where home and kids and just all the lives collide together. So that's been interesting, but I'm getting very familiar with Zoom and this environment. So there's benefits to that, but just really grateful for our health and opportunities that we've gotten kind of through COVID, with our investments and things that kind of started during this time. So
yeah, for sure. One thing I hear a lot of is it's like silver lining. We didn't ask for any of this, but we all are trying to make it work. We are all trying to get through it. And more than just getting through it is we're trying to find ways that we can maybe improve in ways that we didn't think possible prior to. And offline, we were talking about where the morning meeting at the Firehouse, even the genesis story of that. Well, it started almost a year ago because I finally had time to focus on some of the goals that I had. And one of them was starting this podcast. And so with any adversity, you're always going to try to, fight through it. And for you guys as parents, I'm sure modeling that behavior to your kids is probably really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of having a lot of those conversations about let's find the good and the bad, right? And taking looking for the opportunities that are created kind of in this time and with the challenges. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Our daughter just started kindergarten, so navigating kindergarten with remote learning and all that. There's lots of those conversations about opportunities for seeing the positive.
That's right. That's exactly right. You have the opportunity to see the positive every single day. It just depends on what way you look at it. I like that. Well, cool. You guys ready to get your first alarm going?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So, Joe, as you will well know, first alarm assignment in the San Diego Fire Department consists of 4 engines and a truck. But here at the Firehouse, I'll ask you guys 4 questions. You give us 1 piece of advice. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. You're going to be first in on your first alarm. And Joe, when you're first in, you got to give a size up. So that's who you guys are, where you both work, and how long you've been doing it.
Well, I'm Joe Kennedy. I'm a fire engineer. I work at Station 10 on C Division, and I've been on as long as you have. Came on together in the 67th, so 14, 15 years now.
Everybody says, Joe, that, and I'm pretty sure you can confirm, the 67th was the best academy that we put out, I think, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Undeniably.
Yeah. What about you, Bree?
Yeah, so Bree Kennedy, the better half. No, I'm just kidding. I work at San Diego City College, so downtown San Diego, and I've been in higher education administration for 11 years now, supporting adult learners with disabilities. So.
Awesome. And for those of you guys that are listening aren't familiar with where Station 10 is, that's in the college area by San Diego State. It's one of our training stations, so Joe is involved in post-academy training. He and I not only came on the academy together, we also teach down at the Fire Academy, and he also spends his regular duty days teaching our probationary firefighters out there down by San Diego State. Guys, when you met, did you have any investing background? Did you have any a background in real estate or anything else? Or what did you guys sort of, and this might sound like a weird question, but bring to the table in terms of investing? Where were you guys at when you guys met?
Well, I'll start with that. I was literally, there were zero conversations around my dinner table or families about investing, real estate, really anything. So I would say like I was like negative on the scale of my knowledge about investing.
Yeah, and before, I really didn't have much background, just what I learned fire station from the more senior people that had background experience. I worked in construction, so I always worked on other people's real estate and building their dreams and homes. But I guess when it comes to property management and owning, I had very little experience with that before we met.
Yeah. And so then fast forward to where you guys are sitting at now, how did things change? You had conversations around the fire station, Joe, but then at some point you guys had to sit down and come to an agreement or come to an understanding that, hey, this is a viable option for us. So how does that sort of happen for you?
There's always that progression in your relationship where you decide to live together. So rent was way more expensive than buying a house at the time. We actually bought our first house when the market crashed, and then the houses were like foreclosing, and the market was flooded with homes. But we actually had a hard time buying a house because all the houses in our price range were being picked up by all the cash investors. So we would put offers in, offer, and somebody with less money would buy it with cash, and we'd be left out. So we just,
Yeah, it's interesting because we decided that like, okay, well, it's kind of, I guess rewind just a minute. We finally started like hearing the conversations around us and then realizing like, okay, like they're actually talking to us, like this could be us. We could actually own a home. Whereas before we kind of didn't see that as something because we were so young and these are older, more mature, wiser people doing this. And so finally, yeah, like Joe said, we're like, okay, this doesn't make, I know how to do basic math and like renting and buying in San Diego. It seemed to make sense for us to buy. So anyways, fast forward to what Joe was saying with our housing search. And I finally actually kind of gave up on the process because it's so discouraging. Every time we find a house, we loved it and then we couldn't get it. And so then Joe came home one day. Do you want to?
Yeah, I bought the junkiest house, probably you can imagine, but in the best neighborhood, So it was just this tear down. We walked in. When I've actually bought the house before I even told Bree. I put an offer in on it. I said, honey, let's go look at the house I just bought. And she's like, what? I'm like, I put an offer in. We have to go get it. It's like, it was a trust, we had to buy it. So she walks in the door and she like started crying.
I was like, oh.
What did you do? I was like, trust me, this is going to be a great house. I'm not going to let you down. We're going to build this thing. It's going to be great. And we tore like every wall out of the house. And we didn't have a bathroom for like 2 weeks. And then she would have to run down the 24-hour fitness to take a shower, But she's a trooper, and that sweat equity and that grind that we did, it really helped us to be where we're at right now. And that was kind of the silver lining, is that hard work and the grind and putting your own energy into it and having the skills, her skills and my skills combined made us really, be able to get where we're at right now.
Yeah. And honestly, if we hadn't taken that step back then in 2010, like we would not be here where we are today with opportunities. So definitely like looking back on those initial tears walking in, but again, seeing the silver lining and seeing like how many doors, literally doors, new homes, that opened up for us. And so. Yeah,
building the equity in those homes that could really help you grow.
Yeah, no, I love that, you guys. I love the trust factors. What I was hearing a lot of is, honey, trust me, I just bought us a house. You might not like it at first, but I have a vision. And Bree got on board, and you guys leverage your skills to make it what it is now. And is it the same home that you're sitting in now?
No, that house we sold, and that was able to put us into this house. And then this house is able to put us into the next house, really.
Yeah.
So
that's the process. And you hit the nail on the head, Joe. You said you bought the ugliest house in the nicest neighborhood you could afford, and that is so real. And you live in it, and you fix it up as you're living it. You mentioned, okay, well, we got to go down to the gym to shower, and maybe we're gonna be without a fridge for a little bit. We did the exact same thing, man. And you suffer through it, but then you look back, you're like, God, in a way, I kind of miss that freedom a little bit. Like being able to just grind it out with your significant other and just having that long-term vision is so cool. And while I wouldn't necessarily want to go through that again, going through it with my wife at the time, it was like a fun thing, and it's a way of growing together as a couple. I kind of miss that in a way. But that's a kind of true love where you guys can buy a house like that and surprise her, Joe. That's pretty impressive.
It's either that or stupid, one of the two. But.
It's definitely isn't easy. So we're not, that's a disclaimer. It takes, grinding, and for me, letting go of control, right? Sometimes you have this like fairy tale idea of like your first home and it's going to be, all these things, but really like letting go of that and understanding that like you got to keep your eye on the prize long range and not be afraid to give up a few things in the process.
Yeah.
My father always told me, and Rome wasn't built overnight. And as I bought that house, I'm like, okay, this is like the first stone, because it's going to take a long time, to get there. But
that's so cool, you guys. Honestly, that is so cool. And I think that gives people hope, that this is doable. But you do have to go through each step. You have to go through each iteration of, okay, this house that we bought right here it's not what I grew up thinking that I would want as my dream home, but it's one step in the process down the road. And that is the key, right? You guys are taking steps intentionally so that you do achieve whatever goals it is that you guys have. That's it. That's perfect. But, kind of going back to that, when the market crashed around here, and, there'd be like 5 houses on one block that were foreclosed on, and you'd put an offer in on something that you liked, and then it would be coming in over the top of you in all cash, and it was like demoralizing. Like, God, how can I catch a break? But you just continue grinding, you continue looking, and eventually something comes up. Now today, we have to be sort of hitting the peak of the market, I have to think, and there will be deals, coming soon. We're not going to see the same sort of activity we saw back then, but there will be opportunities for folks that are really prepared. I had JJ Jarrot, who's a lender for Synergy Lending, on recently, and I'll link his morning meeting here up above, saying the exact same thing. As long as the people are ready for those opportunities when they do come along, they're going to really they're going to make out like bandits. And it sounds like that's what you guys did. Sort of fast forwarding now, can you just share with us, you guys have now recently purchased up in Big Bear. Big Bear is like a mountainous area in Southern California where they're skiing in the winter. They just got dumped on recently. It's great hiking in the summer. It's kind of like a year-round area for people to go. So can you just walk us through how you found that one? Joe, did you just go up there and tell Bree, you call Bree from Big Bear and say, hey, honey, I bought us another place, the worst place on the best block we could afford, or how'd you guys do it?
I'd probably be divorced if I did that at this time. But no, we were trying to figure out a plan for our next move, and we knew we wanted to invest in real estate, and we wanted to do the STRs, the short-term rentals. So we were trying to find places that, like you said, were going to be optimal occupancy. So snow, spring, summer, and that would actually have some sort of return on it. So Big Bear is close to home too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And also looking at a place that was close to home, because traveling with like toddlers and tiny children long distances is not always fun. So really trying to find something that would meet our recreational needs and we could benefit from it as a family, and also be able to make money on it. So that was kind of, well, you didn't share though how we the financing, the creative financing that we kind of.
How'd you guys find it? How'd you finance it? Like, where are you guys at with it now? All that stuff.
Well, it was just another luck of the deal, like the market now with the refinancing and the interest rates were so low, and our previous interest rate was much higher. So we decided to refinance, and there was like a cash out refi on it. And so we did that. We're like, let's take some of the equity we have in the house, lower our interest rate, and our mortgage actually dropped, and we pulled cash out of our house. So it was kind of like a win-win for us. But we didn't want to spend it on toys or something that's frivolous. We wanted to spend on something that could benefit our future. So we launched it into the short-term rental business.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect. Because, you know, if you would have taken the equity, and I'm assuming you're taking equity out of your primary residence, using that to go buy the investment property, really common strategy in real estate investing. And that is a great way to use leverage, right? That is using dollars in the future right now so that you can go purchase another piece of property. That is the power of real estate investing that people really have to understand. And the part about, Bree, a place that's close enough to home so that you can get the little ones up there without this treacherous 5 or 6 hour drive up to Mammoth or somewhere else, where you can enjoy it in the winter or the summer, and even the shoulder seasons, you know, sort of early spring or late fall, you can still either go up and enjoy it yourself or rent it out short term. But you know, the fact that you guys use the leverage, right? You started with the worst house on the best block you could afford. You fixed it up yourself. You use that to move into the next place, pull out equity, go buy another place. Guys, you're like right on the right path. I just love hearing that stuff.
Yeah, thank you. It was funny because when we pulled out the money, we didn't actually have like our full plan together, right? So we didn't really know exactly where we were going to go, but it kind of just prompted us like, okay, well, we took action, we had the money, and then now we're like, okay, we need to develop a plan and start to look at places. And so that's, yeah, kind of how it all came to fruition. And also just so grateful for other firefighters and the wisdom that they shared with us. There's some other, you know, captains on the job that invest up in Big Bear and in short-term rentals. And so we've really are so grateful for their support and knowledge and their wives' support, because that's also kind of what helped us keep our journey moving forward.
And we didn't want to try to, there's been people that do this before us. There's been people that are successful, and we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. And we just wanted to take the good and the bad and sift through it and figure out how we're going to put our model or our platform out there. And thank God we've had some amazing mentors like Alex Kane and the V Hills. I mean, they've been amazing helping us through our journey because they're successful people, short-term rentals as well. So it's been fun. There's a community of firefighters. Young firefighters are buying houses up there now that I've talked to recently that are interested in purchasing homes. And it's kind of a group now of firefighters, you know, doing the short term up in Big Bear. So it's been kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah, sure. That's awesome. I had Alex Kane on the morning meeting recently. I'll link to his show up above as well. And he said the same thing, man, is you can leverage your network. Like you guys use a lot of leverage from the properties itself, and then also your network. And that's the intent of the Firehouse, is to just, let's wrap our arms around each other and help each other through this stuff. Let's help Joe and Bree avoid the mistakes that Kyle and Colleen made. Let's have Joe and Bree help the next folks avoid the mistakes that they made. And so kind of with that in mind, guys, the next thing I want to ask you, and I know that it's kind of, you know, you're newer to the process of the short-term rental market, but do you have a favorite mistake so far that you made that you're willing to share?
Well, I think it goes back to being intimidated, or I guess you would say not feeling that you could do it, you know, kind of being, I don't know.
Yeah, like waiting, I guess, would be our biggest mistake. You know, Joe, actually you shared a story about like a conversation you had with Shadone and
well, just how years back, how you and I talked about purchasing a home, you and Captain Shadone, and we were going to buy a house that was in National City and fix it up, and it was a big plan, and I backed out, and I regret that backing out so bad, you know, because now look at you guys. But I just was intimidated by it. I didn't feel like I was ready, or the time was right, or I was successful enough, or had enough money, or was capable of doing it. And their timing is never right. You know, you just got to go for it, pull the trigger, and take that first leap and just go for it.
No, that's the key, man. And by the way, I regret that we could not partner back then too. But it's never going to be the perfect time. It's never like if properties are super cheap, then everybody's in the market. If properties are really expensive, but interest rates are really low, well, they can afford that higher price. It's never going to be the perfect time. It's like having kids, man. It's never the perfect time to have kids. You always feel like you could be a little bit more, you could have this thing over here a little more squared away. We could have the nursery a little more dialed in, but it's never going to be the perfect time. You just have to take action. That's why I love your guys' story and why I was so anxious to have you guys on here, because you don't have all the information. You don't have everything you possibly need to avoid every hazard that you might face, but neither do we out there on the street. We show up with the best amount of, the most amount of training that we can and the most amount of information available. But then at some point you have to just go, you have to just take that step. And that's what you guys have done. That's just fantastic. Do you guys have like a favorite resource you turn to when it comes to short-term rentals? Because short-term rentals are different than long-term rentals, right? If I'm going to, like for me, I do long-term rentals. If I'm looking to find a new tenant, I have resources that I turn to consistently that I know, that I trust, that I like. But for me, like the short-term rental world is totally foreign. Like I wouldn't even know where to start. So for you guys, is there some resource available that you guys are familiar with that you guys really like to turn to?
Yeah, so there's a couple that I hope you don't mind mentioning a couple. So the first thing is really, and I guess your previous question about mistake, I think getting linked in earlier on into a community that you're kind of looking into is something that we didn't do as much of that we could have. So there's a lot of free Facebook groups for short-term rental owners in certain areas. And it's really great to use those groups to be a fly on the wall, because then you really see like what's going on that's negatively affecting the market in that area, or learn about the resources, because there's a lot of additional resources that you need for short-term rentals, house cleaning, 24/7 respond person, lots of different things. And so those resources are really great, especially being connected into the actual place that you're looking at before you decide. So I think that's one thing. And then the other thing, there's a really good tool. You have to pay for it, so it's not free, but called AirDNA, that we used a lot while we were looking at different houses, because you can actually type in the address of the place that you're looking at, and then it'll pull up other actually Airbnbs in that area and show you the revenue that was generated the previous year. And then you can start to kind of get a good idea for comparisons. So we use that a lot. We literally, every time we'd go look at a house, we'd run the AirDNA, and then we print that out. You learn about the amenities that they offered in their place. So it just helps as you're looking for the property to kind of go in with an eye of like what your competitors are doing, and then also what could be possible with that property. So that was a really good tool that, and then of course podcasts, like love podcasts, just all the different ones. There's a lot for short-term rentals, but yeah.
No, God, I had not heard of that AirDNA, and it's probably because I'm not in this world, but God, that is perfect, because then you know what the competition's doing. You know if you're pricing yourself out of the market or not. And on the other hand, you're like, well, these guys over here are charging a little bit more. Maybe I can bump up my rate, my nightly rate, or whatever the case may be for your particular situation. That's cool.
It really helps you choose your house too, based on square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen size, lot size, how many people you can have. And then based on that parameter, it will tell you what the general region is pulling in for short-term rentals. So it's when you're purchasing your home, you want to make sure that you pick the home that can yield the most return on your investment.
Yeah, wow, that is really, really good. AirDNA, guys, if you're listening, write that down, look it up. What a great resource that would be, because it's going to tell you whether or not the area you're looking at is going to cash flow or not. Are you going to be feeding this thing every month? Or are you going to be getting some cash flow? That's perfect. And at the end of the day, you guys want a little bit of cash flow, and you want a little bit of that lifestyle investment where you guys can go and enjoy the place yourself. So if anybody's looking to rent your place, just know that the Kennedys, they stay there too. So you're going to have nice things there. You're not going to be staying at some Airbnb that's just trash that a lot of us have unfortunately stayed at over the years. Now, guys, looking back when you guys were newlyweds, looking back to that, that era or whatever, what piece of advice would you give yourselves as newlyweds as it relates to real estate investing or getting down the path?
Like, just take the first step that, towards the investment, right?
Yes, don't delay. Just have the courage to know what you want end game and just push forward. Don't pull out of the deals that you thought you couldn't do.
Yeah, that's perfect. That it's taking action. That's the theme that I'm hearing, is taking action. Now, with that said, don't go out and just do something stupid because these guys have taken action, because your neighbor down the street did. Make sure that the deal makes sense for you. But then at the end of the day, you got to just go for it. Get up to the plate and take a swing. And you may not hit a home run, but maybe you take a swing, you get a base hit or something. And then the next time you get up, you get another base hit. And then slowly that compounds over time. And before you know it, you're just off to the races. That's just perfect, you guys. I think with that, we got knocked down our first alarm.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me into the Firehouse.
Yeah, you got it. So, hey guys, if people are looking to learn more about you, maybe have questions about short-term rentals, or if they're looking to rent your short-term rental, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram at Kennedy Cabin in the Pines. So Kennedy with a K, Cabin with a K. Kennedy Cabin in the Pines. And on our Instagram, it links also to our Airbnb listing, which we would love to welcome you in to our home. Like Kyle said, we have kids. It's very family friendly, and we take a lot of pride in the cabin. And then Joe's available to answer questions.
Yeah.
Like we really want to help and give back to this community that's really helped us. And as Kyle said, want to make sure that everyone's making decisions and being intentional about like what's going to work and make the most sense for their family and their situation. But we're happy to provide any support along the way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You can call me at Station 10 or my cell phone or wherever.
Cool. I'll link to all that stuff in the show notes, guys. Kennedy Cabin in the Pines is their handle on Instagram. Look them up, check out their place, learn from what they've done well, learn from what the mistakes that they shared with us today. Do the same with me. Learn from the things that I've done well and the things that I've screwed up, because there's been a lot more screw ups than there have been successes. I can tell you that much. And we're all just trying to take action each day, step by step, towards the goals that we're trying to achieve. So yeah, guys, hey, I want to thank you for everything you shared today. Your time today. I know you weren't looking to do this, but you guys have an awesome story, and I'm sure people will be looking to reach out to you. So thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us on, Kyle.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thanks again to Joe and Bree for meeting me here in the bullpen. Man, if you're looking for somebody that's out there taking deliberate steps on the path towards financial independence, look no further than these two. They went from buying the worst property on the best street they could afford to now buying their first short-term rental up in the woods. Man, these two are just out there crushing. I just was smiling ear to ear listening to their story. If you'd like to learn more about Joe, you can email him at ja_Kennedy@outlook.com. If you're looking to learn more about their short-term rental, you can find it at Kennedy Cabin in the Pines. That's Kennedy with a K, Cabin with a K, in the Pines on Instagram. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can find us on Facebook at The Firehouse. That's f.i.r.ehouse. On Instagram, the _fire_house. On LinkedIn, The Firehouse Investors, or any place you listen to podcasts. If you learned something today and you'd like to hear more, please like, share, and subscribe. But no matter what you do, take this information, go out there, and get some. Station F.